Please don't take my Kodachrome away. Yes, it's the time once again for Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, joins us all the way from Germany to talk about the Viewfinder Villa in beautiful...
The Viewfinder Villa, yes.
Beautiful downtown Germany to talk about photography. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
Are you recovered from your Tibetan journey?
Oh, yes. Well, the last one was in Siberia, so...
That's what I meant, the Baikal German. Yeah,
the Baikal one. Oh, yeah.
And I... Hello. Somebody's talking to me over here. I don't know who that... That sounded like the Windows machine. That was weird. It wants me to unlock it. What's locked? No, I was wondering because about now, you know, you've recovered from jet lag and everything, and now you're probably starting to wish you could go back.
Well, you know what? I will go to another cold area pretty soon, in about a month, and that's Svalbard, which is all the way up in the Arctic. So that's
I'm told
the
you
next
could
thing.
actually move there if you want. That's a free zone.
Possibly, but I'm not sure I want to do that.
Well, just keep that in mind.
I think I'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy it for a couple of weeks, and then probably happy to go
no
back.
visa required, no immigration papers. You can just move there. All right, so
I can just go there.
I
Yeah.
sense from the email I received from you,
We have an assignment review.
That it is time to review the assignment.
Absolutely.
So what was the assignment?
The turn assignment. Turn as in, well, as in one of them, at least 20 different meanings that word has. So people interpreted that in all sorts of different ways. And I have chosen 3 pictures to have a quick look at.
Good.
The first one is by Greg Ches 2000.
All right.
And, well, okay, let's not talk about the title because that's IMG_0086. So the first one is a kind of picture that I see a lot, and I generally like these kind of pictures because you have beautiful leading lines. We're looking at railway tracks that lead somewhere in the distance. Now, 2 things about that. First of all, if you have leading lines, it's always a good idea to include something that those lines lead to. So they need to go somewhere, not just disappear somewhere in the distance. So that would be my suggestion. My suggestion to make this picture better.
Like have a tunnel mouth
one,
there or something. You're saying,
or a train or something.
Okay.
The second thing I need to talk about just briefly is do not shoot on railway tracks. This is next to railway tracks, but shooting on railway tracks is really dangerous. And we have, at least once a month, there is some news about some photographer or some model who used railway tracks to create leading lines and then have a model on the railway lines getting caught by a
he's
train.
a little off the track, which is good. He's
off the track, and that's fine. So Greg Ches 2000, don't be worried. But
we don't want to lose any
listeners. If you think about shooting on train tracks, don't do it, because you will often not hear the train approach, and you are busy with other things.
It's tempting. It's tempting, but don't.
It is very tempting because it's very photogenic, but again, it's a kind of a really dangerous place to shoot. Second picture by Philip Northeast, The Pipes, Zinc Works. So it shows, well, Zinc Works, it's a factory of some sort. Lots of pipes, lots of different, containers and some steam and a beautiful sky. And I just like the little Where's Waldo nature of that picture. You know, there's lots to look at, lots to explore, lots to find. The other thing I find interesting is he shot this with a bit of a telephoto, and at 180 millimeters to be precise. And what that does is, even though he's below these structures, you do not really see any falling lines, any converging lines. If he had shot this with a wide angle, he'd have to be much closer to the structure, shoot from way further below, and that would kind of make the whole thing collapse into itself when you look at how the lines then work. So if you want to shoot something like that, a longer focal length makes a lot of sense, because that really kind of keeps it more straight up.
You know what's interesting about this? I agree with you. A lot of times I'll take a picture and it's too busy. And I go, oh, you can't, you know, this is just a mush because there's so much going on in it. This is a very busy picture, but for some reason,
it looks very orderly, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's fascinating. And why is it, you think, that this works, the busyness works here?
Well, I mean, you have some interesting structures, some bigger structures, like the two big round structures in the left middle. And those kind of act a bit like a subject, so you always have this resting place to go back to with your eyes. You kind of have this this anchor.
Yeah, if you took that out, you wouldn't know where to look. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
And then from there you go explore, and I immediately go to the right where you see this yellow structure of some sort, which is kind of a warm color, a warning color, so that attracts some attention. But it's much smaller, so it's not as strong. But that's something to explore. I like the smoke on the left top. I like those pipes on the right top, how they kind of the ones in front of the sky. I like those a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of repetition in the picture as well. You see a lot of the same structures repeat over and over and over again. And I think that's what makes it so interesting.
I agree with you. There's something, it's fascinating. You want to stare at it for a while. Yeah.
This one I would definitely print out in as big as you can with the amount of megapixels and hang it up on the wall. That's a picture to stand in front and just spend 10 minutes looking at it.
Yeah. Very nice. Philip Northeast, well done.
And the third one is by Brendan Burkett, Turns Begin with the Eyes. And he did two things. Well, first of all, it's a black and white photo. There's a bartender on the photo. She's just reaching over the bar to arrange some stuff on top of the bar. And she's just turning her head. So there's a turn in there. And it's a very reduced picture in terms of what's on it. I mean, it's very dark, it's very contrasty, so that's a night scene. The other thing he did is he shot this on film, and then he scanned the entire film. So you don't just see the picture, you see the sprocket holes around the picture, you see the print on the edge of the frame, so that adds a total, kind of a completely additional layer on top of that photo, and that is what I like about it, because it adds this, well, it creates a bit of a distance between you and the photo, because all of a sudden you have this idea, wait a minute, that's not just a photo, that's a film strip, so that's a piece of film that you could actually hold in your hand. And he writes in the description, trying to be cool by including the outer parts of the film scan. There is something with film photographers that sometimes they actually like to include parts of that outer frame, because it kind of also proves that they didn't like mess with the picture too much. They didn't crop it. They framed it in camera that way. So you kind of prove that this way, and I think that's a bit what that is as well.
That's really cool. And 2 of the 3 were black and white, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, and they with the railway tracks, again, that probably needs a stronger subject. With that third one, I think that makes a lot of sense to have this in black and white, because what this also does is, if you look at the photo, it has this nice grain structure, which is what happens with film when you expose it very low in low light and then develop it accordingly. It's probably a push development. And then it brings out the grain in the photo, and that grainy look is something that, well, at least us older ones, we're still used to that look of low light photos having that gritty look of the film grain, and that kind of goes together, and it gives it some good atmosphere. I like that.
We got a break. When we come back, I will get our assignment so we can do it again next month. Find Chris Marquardt at discoverthetopfloor.com. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy.